Welcome back, ladies, to Real Love Talk. What if I told you that the real test of whether he's husband material isn't how he acts at dinner or how sweet he is on dates, but how he shows up with you behind closed doors? Because in the bedroom, there are no masks, no performances, just the truth. And if he does these 8 things with you, then you're not just looking at a good lover, you're looking at the kind of man you should marry. 1. When a man truly prioritizes your pleasure in the bedroom, it speaks volumes about who he is not only as a partner, but as a person. It shows that he understands intimacy is not just about release, but about connection, about creating an experience where both people walk away feeling fulfilled. A man who puts your needs and desires first is rare because it requires patience, attentiveness, and genuine care. He is not rushing to the finish line. Instead, he slows down, he explores, and he listens to your body as much as your words. This is the kind of man who doesn't just ask what you like, but notices the way your breath changes, the way your body responds, and he adjusts in the moment without needing you to spell everything out. That level of awareness doesn't come from ego, it comes from intention. When someone makes your pleasure their mission, you feel seen and valued in a way that goes beyond the physical act. It creates trust. You know he is not there just to satisfy himself and move on, but to make sure you walk away feeling desired, appreciated, and cared for. Think about how that translates outside the bedroom too. 2. If he is willing to slow down and prioritize you in the most intimate setting, it usually means he carries that same attitude in the rest of the relationship. He will likely care about your happiness in everyday life, notice when you need support, and take the time to give it without hesitation. Now, a man who prioritizes your pleasure doesn't see it as a chore or an obligation. He genuinely enjoys giving to you. There is a kind of confidence in his approach, a quiet certainty that the more he invests in you, the stronger your connection will be. He understands that intimacy is a shared journey, and your satisfaction fuels his satisfaction. He sees your pleasure as an extension of his own, and that's powerful because it makes the entire experience more meaningful. This kind of behavior reveals character. It reveals empathy, generosity, and emotional intelligence. A man who values your pleasure above his own impulses is showing you he's capable of being unselfish, patient, and deeply connected. That's not just someone who's good in bed, that's someone who's good for your life. 2. When a man is attentive and responsive in the bedroom, it reveals how tuned in he is to you and the moment you share together. It's not about following some scripted routine or doing what he thinks should impress you, but about being fully present and adjusting to your signals as they unfold. An attentive partner notices the subtle details most people overlook. He pays attention to the rhythm of your breathing, the movement of your body, the smallest sounds you make, and he uses all of those cues as a guide. This shows he's not lost in his own head or focused only on his own satisfaction. He is invested in making sure you are comfortable, excited, and engaged every step of the way. Being responsive is more than just reacting when you say something. It's about being aware enough to sense when something feels good for you, when something might need to slow down, or when something needs to be intensified. That awareness is a form of respect because it communicates that your experience matters. It also shows a level of maturity because a man who is attentive and responsive understands that intimacy is not a performance but a conversation, one where both people contribute and both are heard, even without words. This quality also builds trust in a powerful way. When you know he is paying attention and adjusting to you, you feel safer to open up, to be more vulnerable, and to express yourself freely. That's when intimacy becomes more than just physical. It becomes emotional. It allows you to let go of worry and simply be in the moment because you know he is right there with you, noticing, listening, and caring. A man who is attentive and responsive is someone who values feedback, whether it comes through words, gestures, or silence. He is flexible, not rigid, willing to shift direction to keep you comfortable and connected. That kind of adaptability in the bedroom often mirrors how he operates outside of it as well. It suggests he listens in daily life, he notices your moods, and he responds to your needs without having to be pushed. It shows he is present, patient, and thoughtful, qualities that make intimacy richer and relationships stronger. 3. When a man creates emotional safety in the bedroom, he is giving you one of the most powerful gifts a partner can offer. Emotional safety is about making you feel respected, accepted, and free from judgment, no matter what. It means you can express your desires, your curiosities, and even your insecurities without worrying about being shamed or dismissed. A man who creates this kind of environment understands that true intimacy is built on trust, and that trust cannot exist if you feel like you're being evaluated or criticized. He doesn't laugh at your vulnerability, he doesn't mock your needs, and he certainly doesn't pressure you into doing anything you're not comfortable with. Instead, he makes it clear that your boundaries are honored and your voice matters. This kind of safety allows you to relax in a way that makes intimacy deeper and more fulfilling. You don't feel like you need to perform or pretend. You can be yourself fully, knowing that your partner values the real you. That kind of acceptance creates space for exploration, because when you feel safe, you feel free to open up, to share what excites you, and to trust him with parts of yourself you don't share with anyone else. The bedroom then becomes more than just a physical space. It becomes a sanctuary where connection grows stronger. A man who provides emotional safety also communicates through his actions that your comfort is his priority. He checks in with you, whether through words, touch, or simply slowing down to see how you're responding. He doesn't take silence as consent, and he doesn't push past your boundaries. Instead, he makes sure you feel in control of your experience. This is powerful because it transforms intimacy into something equal, where both people contribute and both people feel respected. Beyond the physical, emotional safety also builds lasting closeness. It sets the foundation for love that can withstand challenges, because you know you can trust him with your vulnerabilities. If he creates that environment in the most intimate moments, it's a reflection of how he will treat you in the rest of your relationship. It shows he has empathy, patience, and a deep respect for you as a person, not just a partner. That's the kind of man who turns intimacy into a bond that only grows stronger with time. 4. When a man shows genuine passion in the bedroom, it changes the entire experience, because it's no longer about just going through the motions. It becomes about sharing a fire that feels alive between you. Genuine passion is not mechanical, it's not routine, and it's not half-hearted. It's the difference between someone who is simply present in body and someone who is present in body, mind, and soul. You can feel it in the way he touches you, the way he looks at you, and the way he engages with you, as if every moment matters. His energy tells you that he truly desires you, not just intimacy itself, but you. That kind of passion makes you feel wanted in the deepest way, because you're not just part of an act, you're the reason for the act. Passion shows up in the small details. It's in the way he kisses you like it's the first time every time, the way he lingers as if he doesn't want to let go, and the way he moves with intention rather than rushing toward an end goal. It's the spark in his eyes, the way he laughs with you in between moments, and the way his energy makes you feel like you're the only person in the world who matters to him in that space. Genuine passion is contagious, because when one person brings that fire, it inspires the other to meet them at the same level, creating an intensity that goes beyond physical pleasure. A man who shows genuine passion is telling you that he values intimacy as more than just something physical. He sees it as an expression of connection, chemistry, and emotion. He doesn't treat it as a routine that needs to be checked off, but as an experience to savor, to explore, and to enjoy together. That attitude makes every moment feel new, exciting, and alive, even if you've been together for years. Passion also reflects effort. It shows that he's not content with giving you the bare minimum. He wants to give you an experience that feels unforgettable. He doesn't hold back his emotions. He lets them flow into every touch and every embrace. That kind of presence creates a sense of belonging because you know he's not just physically there but emotionally invested. It's that intensity that transforms intimacy into something powerful, something that strengthens the bond between you in ways that words alone could never do. 5. When a man communicates openly in the bedroom, it sets the tone for a connection that is not only satisfying in the moment but sustainable in the long run. Open communication removes the guesswork, removes the fear of being misunderstood, and replaces it with clarity, trust, and freedom. A man who is willing to talk, to ask, and to listen is showing you that your voice matters just as much as his. He doesn't assume he knows everything you like. He doesn't treat intimacy as a one-way street, and he doesn't leave you in silence to figure things out on your own. Instead, he makes space for conversation, whether it's spoken out loud or communicated through small check-ins and gestures. This ability to communicate openly makes intimacy more exciting, more fulfilling, and more deeply connected. Communication in this space isn't only about asking questions like, "Do you like this?" or "Does this feel good?" Although those moments are important. It's also about him being confident enough to share his own thoughts and desires with you. A man who opens up about what excites him is showing vulnerability, and that vulnerability creates an invitation for you to do the same. Suddenly, intimacy becomes a safe playground for exploration, not a performance you're expected to perfect. The openness creates a back and forth exchange where both people are fully engaged, fully present, and fully willing to learn about each other. What makes this quality powerful is that it removes the fear of judgment. When he communicates openly, you know that you can be honest without worrying about how he will react. You don't have to hold back your requests, your curiosities, or even your boundaries, because he shows you through his words and actions that honesty is welcomed, not rejected. That atmosphere of honesty allows the two of you to build a deeper bond, because nothing is left to assumption. You're not guessing what he wants, and he's not guessing what you want. Both of you are in sync because you're willing to put the truth on the table. A man who communicates openly also shows a certain level of maturity. He understands that intimacy is not a silent performance but an ongoing dialogue. He's not afraid of conversations that some might find uncomfortable, because he knows those conversations lead to greater trust, greater satisfaction, and greater connection. This maturity reflects emotional intelligence because it takes awareness and humility to admit that communication makes everything better. It's not about ego, it's about partnership, about creating something meaningful together. Beyond the physical, open communication in the bedroom often mirrors how he will behave in other areas of the relationship. If he's willing to listen and talk openly here, he's likely to carry the same approach into your day-to-day life. That means when challenges arise, when feelings need to be expressed, or when decisions need to be made, you'll already have the foundation of honest communication built between you. This consistency strengthens trust because you know he's not hiding, not pretending, and not avoiding what needs to be said. Another important element of open communication is that it creates freedom for growth. People change, preferences evolve, and needs shift over time. A man who communicates openly ensures that your intimacy stays alive because he keeps checking in, keeps learning, and keeps adapting alongside you. That adaptability makes sure the spark never fades, no matter how long you've been together. He doesn't see communication as a one-time event, but as an ongoing process, a continuous exploration of each other that never truly ends. In the end, open communication is what transforms intimacy from something ordinary into something extraordinary. It shows that he values honesty, respects your needs, and cherishes the connection you share. It's not just about what happens in the bedroom, it's about building a language of love, trust, and understanding that carries into every part of your relationship. 6. When a man balances playfulness and intimacy in the bedroom, he brings a dimension to your connection that is both light-hearted and deeply meaningful. Too much seriousness can make intimacy feel heavy, while too much silliness can make it feel shallow. The real magic is when he knows how to mix both, creating a rhythm where laughter and passion coexist. This balance keeps the experience exciting, unpredictable, and alive. A man who can be playful shows you that he's comfortable enough to let go of ego, to laugh with you, and to enjoy the moment without worrying about being perfect. At the same time, he knows when to shift gears into deeper intimacy, when to slow down, and when to express raw emotion that makes you feel desired and cherished. This ability to move between these two energies effortlessly is a sign of emotional intelligence and genuine connection. Playfulness in the bedroom often shows up in small ways that make everything lighter and more enjoyable. Maybe it's a teasing remark, a cheeky smile, or a moment of laughter when things don't go perfectly. Instead of letting the moment feel awkward, he uses humor to dissolve tension and remind you that intimacy doesn't have to be flawless to be meaningful. That kind of playfulness creates comfort because it shows you he's not taking himself too seriously, and he doesn't expect you to either. It gives you permission to be free, to let go of insecurities, and to simply enjoy yourself. But it's not just about laughter. Balancing that playfulness with intimacy means he also knows when to drop into a deeper, more passionate space. He can read the energy of the moment and sense when you want to feel closeness, seriousness, or tenderness. He doesn't let jokes or distractions overshadow the sacredness of intimacy. Instead, he uses playfulness to enhance connection, not to replace it. Then, when the moment calls for intensity, he can focus completely, letting the passion take over in a way that makes you feel truly desired. That ability to shift shows a remarkable sensitivity to you and to the connection you're sharing. A man who brings both playfulness and intimacy also makes intimacy feel sustainable over time. Passion alone can sometimes burn out if it becomes repetitive or too heavy, and constant playfulness without depth can feel empty. When the two are combined, though, the relationship stays fresh, exciting, and emotionally rich. Every moment together feels different because you never quite know whether it will lead to laughter, passion, or both, and that unpredictability is part of what keeps the spark alive. This balance also reflects how he is outside of the bedroom. If he knows how to be light-hearted while also being serious when it counts, it shows emotional range. It means he can make you laugh in everyday life, lift your mood when you're stressed, and yet be present and dependable when you need depth and support. That duality makes him not only a great lover, but also a great partner, someone who can bring joy and meaning into your life in equal measure. Balancing playfulness and intimacy also signals confidence. It takes self-assurance for a man to laugh, tease, or be silly without worrying about how he looks, and it takes strength of character to be able to switch into intimacy without hesitation. That confidence creates a safe space where you feel free to express yourself without shame. You know he won't judge you for being playful or vulnerable because he embraces both himself. In the end, when a man knows how to bring both playfulness and intimacy into your most private moments, he shows that he's not just there for physical pleasure, he's there for a full spectrum of connection. He's proving that intimacy can be joyful and passionate, light and deep, all at once. And that balance is what makes the bond between you truly unforgettable. When a man expresses affection beyond the act itself, it shows you that intimacy for him is not just about release, but about connection, tenderness, and care. Many men can be passionate during the moment, but what truly matters is how they treat you afterward, when the intensity settles and the vulnerability is still present. A man who holds you close, kisses your forehead, runs his fingers through your hair, or simply stays with you instead of turning away, is communicating something far deeper than physical attraction. He's saying that you matter to him, that your presence is comforting, and that closeness with you is not something he wants to rush away from. This expression of affection is powerful because it removes the feeling of being used or treated as an object. Instead, you feel valued as a partner, as someone worth cherishing even when the physical act is over. It creates a sense of safety and belonging, reminding you that intimacy doesn't end when the passion fades. It transforms into warmth and care. That transition is where true connection is built, because it tells you he's not just invested in a moment of pleasure, but in the bond you share. A man who shows affection afterward also understands the importance of emotional aftercare. Intimacy is vulnerable. It strips away walls and exposes raw parts of you. Affection helps ground that vulnerability and turn it into something positive and comforting. When he holds you close or continues to engage with you gently, he's helping you feel secure, desired, and appreciated. That emotional reassurance strengthens trust, making you more willing to open up again and again because you know he values the connection beyond the physical. This behavior reflects consistency of character. A man who can be tender after intimacy is likely someone who carries that same tenderness into everyday life. He'll be the one who checks in on you, who offers small gestures of love, and who knows that affection is not about grand moments, but about the little things repeated often. His ability to be present beyond the act itself is proof that he's not just there for what he can take, but for what he can give. That depth of care turns ordinary moments into lasting memories, and it's one of the clearest signs that he values you as more than just a partner in bed, but as a partner in life. 8. When a man respects your boundaries in the bedroom, it's one of the clearest signs that he truly values you as a person and not just as a body. Respect in this space is about understanding that intimacy can only exist where there is trust, and trust can only exist where there is freedom to say yes or no without pressure. A man who respects your boundaries doesn't push, doesn't guilt trip, and doesn't try to convince you into something you're not ready for. Instead, he listens, he observes, and he honors what you communicate, whether it's through words or through your body language. That level of restraint and understanding is not weakness, it's strength, because it shows that his desire for you is grounded in care, not control. Respecting boundaries also means he values consent as an ongoing process, not a one-time check mark. He understands that comfort can shift in the moment, that what felt good yesterday might not feel good today, and he stays tuned in to those changes. This attentiveness creates an environment where you feel safe enough to open up because you know your limits will never be ignored. 9. That safety is what allows intimacy to grow deeper, because when you feel fully respected, you're more willing to explore, to trust, and to share more of yourself without fear. A man who respects your boundaries is also sending a clear message about his character outside the bedroom. If he can show patience, self-control, and empathy in your most vulnerable moments, he is likely to carry those same qualities into the rest of your relationship. He'll respect your opinions, your decisions, and your independence. He'll understand that love is not about possession, but about partnership. That makes respect for boundaries one of the strongest indicators of long-term compatibility. This kind of respect also enhances intimacy rather than diminishing it. Some people mistake boundaries as barriers, but the truth is, honoring them makes connection even stronger. When you know you're with someone who will never cross a line you've set, it builds trust that allows passion to thrive without fear. You can let go and fully enjoy the experience because you know you are safe in his hands. 10. A man who lives by this principle is not just someone who can make you feel good in the moment, but someone who can make you feel secure, valued, and loved for a lifetime. At the end of the day, intimacy is not just about what happens in the bedroom, it's about what those moments reveal about who he really is as a partner and as a man. If you find someone who prioritizes your pleasure, who pays attention and responds to you, who makes you feel emotionally safe, who shows genuine passion, who communicates openly, who balances playfulness with intimacy, who shows affection even after the moment is over, and who always respects your boundaries, then what you have is so much more than chemistry. What you have is trust, respect, and love wrapped into one. These 8 things aren't just signs of a good lover, they are signs of a good life partner, because when a man can bring that level of care, attention, and authenticity into your most vulnerable space, it's a reflection of how he'll treat you everywhere else. That's the kind of man worth holding on to, and that's the kind of man you should never hesitate to marry.